So somebody felt the need to comment on Discord that the gems on the sides here, like on the frame surrounding continue, one of them's red and one of them's green, and for some reason he's now got it in his head canon that this game predicted pendulum summons, which I never really thought about that until he brought it up. It's rather uncanny, actually. Anyhow, moving on. I'm not entirely sure why I feel the need to just spam click the mouse for like 5 seconds at the start of a recording, because it's not like I'm going to be using the mouse that much anyway. But whatever. I guess it kind of gets rid of any clicks and clacks on the controller if those so happen to be picked up. But I reduced the gain on this, so hopefully that will not be the case. Anyhow, I think we're about good to go into this. Let's go ahead and have our obligatory cup of tea. Very much defensive of her, I don't know, master, crush, something like that, I don't know. Anyhow, welcome to the game board. I will try my best to explain as many of the rules as I possibly can. I'll obviously got to try to ensure that I make perfect sense as well. But I'll start with the game board itself. It is a 7x7 grid, and each grid has a certain terrain that's in it. As you can see, there's a few normal... The bulk of it's actually normal. There's a few meadow and a few mountain areas. There are more than... I think there's about maybe like 8 or 9 different terrains. And when you play monsters into certain terrains, they may either benefit or detriment from the... Even if that makes sense. But sometimes they'll benefit, sometimes they will be hindered by the field. An example would be this meadow field. I should probably explain what I'm doing here. If you press square on your deck leader, it shows a whole bunch of blue squares, and that's where you can play your cards. You can only play 1 card per turn, unless there is a card that allows you to do something else. And then here we have our hand of 5 cards. You can't have any more than 5 in your hand, and when you start a turn, when you go to actually play your card, you'll draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. So if you've used like 3 cards in your hand, you'll have 2, and so when you go to summon your card on your next turn, you'll draw 3. So as you can see here, Battlelock's normally 1700 attack, but it has a power boost because as a beast warrior, it benefits from the meadow field. So I'm going to go ahead and summon it onto the board. It's in face down attack position. Somebody alert the authorities. And here I'm just going to go ahead and pass turn because there's nothing really for me to do here. So her deck leader is on one side of the arena, mine's on the polar opposite. And you can see a few of these cards are blacked out, and the reason for that is because if you look to the top right corner, there's a little icon that looks like a star, like this level stars on a monster. You'll notice I've got 3 of those. It says 3. Those are summon points, and you need to use those summon points in order to summon creatures. Since I've only got 3 to work with, I can't summon anything higher than level 3. And then here, if you press the up on the D-pad, you get these little tags. And what this does is it allows you to use more than 1 card from your hand at the same time. So if I were to try to make an attempt to combine these two, either that wolf is just going to sort of butt the morphing jar out of the way and send it to the graveyard, or, here's hoping, they might fuse together. Unfortunately they did not, so now I've just got a crummy old wolf. It's pretty much Silverfang, except it's clearly not Silverfang. So it is possible to move your deck leader and your cards. I believe she moved her first card that she played. Yeah, she likes moving stuff around, I guess. You can do the same thing with your deck leader as well. All I gotta do is just do that. And then here I've got a handful of cards that I can't summon in the absolute slightest. So here I pretty much don't have much of a choice other than to just end my turn immediately. There is a limit to the amount of monsters that you can have on the board. It is, unsurprisingly, just 5. Same thing with spells and traps, so that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise here. So now that I've got 6 summon points, I can go ahead and drop my Millennium Golem onto the board. I will push it forward up. I'll push it forward 1 just because I can. It's my strongest creature, aside from Battle Ox, but Battle Ox is only on 2200 as long as it's sitting in that square right there. Because most of this board is normal terrain, which has no beneficial or detrimental effects on any monster. It's about as generic as you can get. Okay, so she's attacked into me with a Happy Lover, and unfortunately, things are not going to go well for her creature. So here we have a random little cinematic where her creature is going to attack mine, and then I'm going to attack back and kill her creature. Some of these have pretty awesome effects. Some of them are kind of shit, though. I don't believe I've ever actually seen Millennium Golems attack, so I'm about to find out just how stupid this thing is. So it basically generates a laser beam using the 4 square shape. I can't think of a word other than nipples. It's a nipple laser. That's pretty much all it is. So that attack backfired quite considerably, and she loses 1200 of her life points. Just like in the old anime, we are starting with 4000 life points each. And now I'm just sort of sitting on a massive butt. I switched into defense mode there by pressing R1. If you want to switch from defense to attack mode, you just press L1. You can also choose to flip a card face up or face down with the 2 triggers. If you want to cancel any of your moves before you make them, you just press circle. And I think that's pretty much all I want to do here, because the only thing I can summon is this Acid Crawler, which is not going to do anything. So I'm probably going to wait until the next turn. I've got to get a few more summoning points under the belt. There, she's just used a power-up card to enhance the strength of the monster that she's got. I can identify what the card is that she used, though, just by pressing R1 to go into the graveyard here. So she's used a Silver Bow and Arrow, which is a 500 point boost to Fairy-type monsters. And just because I can, we'll see how good Happy Lover is, because it used to be a vanilla monster. But now it cancels all power, and that's not too bad. That's a Curse Breaker sort of thing. If I were to give this thing a power-up card and boost it to 2500, if I ran into a Happy Lover, it would have just taken that off it, which would have been quite unfortunate. Not too sure what I want to do here. I'm not too sure if I can combine any of these cards together. That's the main issue I've got here. So I think what I'm going to do, Acid Crawler is pretty much useless. This thing is useless. And I think I might summon Destroyer Golem. Because if anything, if I can draw into that Wasteland card that I've got, then I can turn a chunk of this area into Wasteland, which will benefit my rock types. So aside from being able to move and summon the creatures, attacking into the opponent's deck leader is the equivalent of a direct attack. So if I were to just send that Millennium Golem after her deck leader and successfully wage an attack, it would be a good 2000 damage. Okay, so we've gone into the Salamandra. I'm not too sure if there are any fire attribute monsters on me at the moment. No, most of them are earth attributes, so that's going to be pretty useless for the most part. Let's see. Cyber Soldier Dark World is not a terrible idea. It benefits from Wasteland as well. So I might just replace Raimundos for the time being. At the same time, though, if I can get a Pyro type, I can fuse Raimundos with it. So let's maybe go take Giant Flea out and just going to sort of sit there like that. Maybe bring it forward a bit. I'm not too sure what that monster is at all, but I might as well hang on to it. I don't want to get caught in any of the mountain terrain because her deck is primarily fairy types and they benefit from mountain terrain. So she's going to send that after my monster that I just summoned. I'd love to be able to top deck my Wasteland right now, just to get her into a really shitty position. I do have Sectarian of Secrets though. The only problem with that though is that I already have 5 monsters. If I were to summon another monster now, it would immediately disappear from the field as soon as it was placed. So what I'm thinking is I'll replace Wolf here with my Battle Ox, move him out of the way. And then if I do that, if I can just sort of do this, and that can be used as basically a trap, because there's no traps in this deck. But if I can have one of her creatures run into its, ideally the one that got the power boost, it'll lose a few points when it kills that monster. Alright, so 1400 plays 1600. So I'm going to take a few points of damage here. Let's see what Doma's attack is like. This would have been an entirely different thing altogether had I gotten my Wasteland card on board, but I'm not that fussed with it. The difference is pretty much negligible. And my Cyber Soldier of not Dark World, I don't care what anybody says, it has no relation to Dark World, the actual archetype. Just kind of short circuits. Now if you want to skip these, you can press circle. Alternatively, you can go into the options, which I think is L1, and you can just make it so that the animations are just completely skipped automatically. So this one's going into the Sectarian of Secrets. It's only a 700 attack point creature though, which is quite unfortunate. Probably shouldn't have skipped. I should have seen what kind of attack it does. Oh yeah, there's Spellbinding. That's the first occasion where I get to talk about Spellbinding. Spellbinding can occur through many different ways. Obviously traps can do it, some spells can do it. But the reason this one was spellbound was actually because of attribute. The way that the attributes work in this game is that one is better than the next one, then the next one, and then the next one. And the way that it functions is that if a monster destroys another monster in battle, if its attribute is considered weaker than the opposing monsters, then it gets spellbound for a turn. And that one turn obviously doesn't go down, like, it doesn't get spellbound on the same turn that it gets spellbound. The count actually starts the very turn afterward. As far as I'm aware, there are only 3 durations that a card can actually spellbind for. There's 1 turn, which is this. Some cards can spellbind for 3 turns, and then some other cards can actually perform an eternal spellbinding, which will never go away no matter how long the game goes on for. So, what do you do actually? If it's higher than if life points is higher than 1,000, maximum forces from the highest attack as well. From own as well as opponent's graveyard are revived on owning player's control. Following the revival, the owning player's life points is reduced by 1,000. That's a chewy little nugget, isn't it? Alright. So let's go ahead and swing into Doma here, because this thing is not going to stand up to my Golem. I've got to try to remember if like I get a really good card and I want to show off its attack to try to turn them back on, because at this point I'm going to go ahead and just turn them off to make sure things don't take any longer than they need to. I'll move Battle Ox back here because I don't need him anywhere else. Destroy Golem's just sort of chilling, waiting for the Wasteland, just as I am. There's another power increase. Okay, swinging into that. Oh, hello. Well, there's her ace, and at least I now know what her monsters are. Doesn't seem to have given itself an attack boost, because it works for anything 1,000 and below. And what's the attack boost, actually? 1,000. Shit. Thankfully, though, being 1,000 or less pretty much just means that at the worst case scenario is that Millennium Golem will tie with anything that's on her board. So let's go ahead and just drop this thing on board, put it in defense, maybe hopefully scrape a few more life points off it. She runs into it, then she's a bloody idiot. was actually hoping to smash into that Hourglass of Life to actually take the game, but unfortunately that's not how things are going to work out. At least I've shaven a few life points off of that with that attack. Even with the Megumi's fucking 1,000-point attack boost, it's not going to help that much. Winged Trumpeter. Oh, heaven help me. So, what kind of attack boost is that? All of her fairies gain 600 attack points. That makes Gyakuten and Megumi the strongest monster on the field. That is not going to help me. Alright. Obviously, I'm going to need to start fortifying my defenses. I need to get that Wasteland card. Because the only way my Golem's going to get over Megumi is if I have my field power bonus. Especially since she's freaking 2,900 in that terrain. Hell, the Hourglass of Life by itself is freaking 2,000. That's ridiculous. That's not what I want either, is it? Alright. I was hoping to hang on to Tripwire Beast because I might have been able to pull something out in like maybe summoning Thunder Dragon or something, but that's obviously not going to be happening. So keep my defenses up. I'm going to end up losing Stone Statue of the Aztecs here, unfortunately, but there's not much else I can do about it. She's pretty much on the offense, and I need a card in order to freaking turn everything around. Ah, shit. I forgot about the movement bonus. If a monster is face up in a terrain where it benefits, it can actually move 2 spaces. And as a result, Millennium Golem's just had its ass handed to it. Thankfully, it can't skip over a square that I've got a card of my own in, so she can't actually attack me directly this turn. Well, I've got Dragon Piper, but unfortunately I still can't get Flame Swordsman on board because of that. Crap. Destroy Golem needs to go into defense mode, and I pretty much can't play anything here. I have to wait until next turn so I can summon Raimundos, because I've got my Pyro type. So I can make Flame Swordsman. This is not a good situation for me to be in, unfortunately. And I know next turn I'm not going to get Wasteland because I couldn't play any of my cards. I probably should have put Salamandra on board though, to be fair. So, 2,400 means that even with the Salamandra boost, it's not going to work out in my favor in any way, shape or form, is it? This sucks. I could put Dragon Piper on 2,800. Stupid an idea as it might be. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because it's a Pyro type, it's Fire Attribute, it'll benefit from both of these power increases. If only I had Shield and Sword to switch its attack and defense, then I'd be in a good position. It's just a shame that I'm, you know, kind of actually not. God. Yeah, all my cards are released from any spellbindings they may have inflicted on them, but that's completely irrelevant here. I like how she actually attacked into my defense monster, which quite clearly had 2 power-up cards attached to it. Key Mace can't do anything because it does not have quite enough attack power to stop me there. Fuck. This is quite a shitty situation for me to be in. Alright. Oh, hello. Damn. Alright, that's depressing. I'll try to remember that for next time, because Punished Eagle is actually a pretty damn decent card to have in that situation. And I kind of just threw it straight into the graveyard because I was an idiot and didn't know they would fuse. Fuck. Now, Battleox needs to go into attack position, or else this frickin' Hourglass is going to run it straight over. Now, let's see what she's going to do. She's literally just going to keep her monster right there. I don't know why she's not going on the attack. All she'd have to do is move her stuff around my monsters. She's got more than enough numbers to cover everything that I've got on my board. That's the stupid part. It also appears that I may not actually benefit from having my Wasteland card anymore, because I don't seem to have a whole lot of my rock types with me. Or my machine types for that matter either. So I might actually be considerably more in a shitty position than I thought I'd be. So gonna be freaking nice right now. Nah, most of my pyros are coming in now. Yeah, I'm pretty much locked in this. I'm pretty much in a deadlock here, because I can't do anything at all. I'll have to see what's in the rest of my deck. I might be able to come up with some kind of strategy. I think what hurt me the most was losing Millennium Golem because of the frickin' terrain movement bonus. If that was still around and I had Wasteland, I would be far more confident than I am now. As we actually see said Wasteland emerging onto the board. The problem, however, is that I need to get into a position where Stone Statue will benefit from it. Not that it will actually matter that much, because it's literally just a bite. Because if I get into a position where this gets taken over with Wasteland, that's actually going to hurt me more than it helps me. So let me go ahead and just pop the Wasteland there somewhere. Yeah. That's nice to have. If I can get my schmucks in there and sort of terrorizing shit from that location, then we might be in a decent position. If I could bust something out that can get over that Hourglass, then that would help. Flame Cerebrus is definitely one of those things. Smash to kill. Alright, no 1000-point drop from its effect though, so... The other problem with Flame Cerebrus is that I don't have any more power-up cards for it. I think I might have one. No, I think I might have already used all my spells. I'll have to see how this goes out. I've still got 5 cards left in my deck. Thankfully, you don't lose by decking out in this game, so I don't have any problems with trying to, like, save my cards up or anything like that. You might be able to fuse these two into something? I'm not too sure. Get rid of Fire Eye, because that thing is entirely useless to me at the moment. But I think you might be able to fuse these two together. Okay, cool. I think that's like Nekogal or something. Nope, it's Garvis. It's got 2000 attack points. I don't mind this, because I pretty much have to work with what I've got. I like how the bulk of the time spent was like... Actually, I can't even claim that to be truth at all. I was going to say the bulk of the time spent is just her just spamming the shit out of her moves and stuff like that. It increases the power of Thunder, Aqua, Pyro, and Rock monsters by 500 points. Thank Christ. Now I'm going in brimming with confidence. Because even if that thing is better than Garvis, Flame Cerebrus is just going to run straight over the top of it. I can also make Metal Dragon by combining a dragon with Shovel Crusher. I'll do that next turn. Assuming I've got 5 monsters at the end of it. Oh, hello. Quickly into the defensive after that power-up card entered the play. Here's hoping the segment doesn't go for a frickin' eternity. Oh, lovely. Now that's stupid, because that card was... I'm pretty sure that card was there when I moved into its range and it still didn't trigger. Cool. Alright. Let's roll over the top of that thing. And then fuse these two together to make my kick-ass Metal Dragon. So there goes 1350 life points. I think she's literally on 50. Yeah, she's literally on 50. Congratulations. And what does Tenderness do in face-up defense position? I would absolutely love to know. Come on. Alright, what do? All damage to life points is reduced by half while it's in defense mode. Not that it's going to matter in this situation because you've only got 50 life points left. So I dare say I'm going to go ahead and run straight over the top of it anyway because I don't care. Not that it was going to have any sort of effect, but whatever. And then I'm just going to sort of maybe try and goad her into attacking me. But she moved out of the... okay, that kind of slightly sucked a bit. Is she even going to play a card? She's not going to play a card. She's going to try to draw me out of my safe zone. To which I will say... I don't give two shits. Because I've got a whole bunch of defense right here. And I'm basically trying to get my monsters into a position where even if she tries to attack me with my deck leader being so close, I'm just going to sort of retaliate back and win the game. That's basically how I'm seeing it. Alright. Alright, I've got this. No, I don't. I might. I'm not too sure. This is a very stupid idea from me. It really is. Well, power increase doesn't exactly help me here, but... I probably shouldn't have allowed that to hit me this turn. Ah, fuck. Did that thing really have to come onto the board? 2300, 27, so it still can't get over Dragon Piper though. But, let's see if you're willing to take the bait. It doesn't have double movement. And if it tries to attack, tries to go right, then it's going to end up falling straight into my trap. Oh, crap. Really? Even with the frickin' field power bonus, I'm still 50 weaker than that stupid egg. Unfortunately for her, she's actually gone and fallen straight into my trap, and that's, that has given me the game. Because I attack into her, and the damage is just too much for her to handle. Yay! So, assuming the segment doesn't come out at a ridiculously stupid size, this might be about right. So, grats on a job well done to my creatures, and now we have the graveyard slot machine. This slot machine is filled with the cards that are present in her graveyard at the end of the game. So you just have to hit the buttons on the bottom of the screen to stop each reel, and you will get the cards that show up in the middle of the screen right there. So we've just picked up a Winged Trumpeter. And a Happy Lover. And yeah, if you get 2, you don't get 2 copies of Happy Lover, unfortunately. If you do line up 3 of the same card though, you actually do get a bonus card, and that's usually how you get other rarer cards like Blue Eyes, White Dragon, Summon Skull. You can even get Exodia pieces from that as well, so... Well, to be fair, you put up a lot more of a fight than you have in games against me in the past. So, there you go. It done was a strong cup of tea. Speaking of tea, here we have just Earl Grey, but I'm just going to call him Grey Barney. So, we're off to the capital next time to take on this schmuck with a deck cost that is significantly higher than it really should, but not that it actually matters that much. Most of his cards are kind of crummy anyway. So, yay. Abrupt ending.